All right, let's jump straight into this explainer, breaking down the highly anticipated return of Algeria's national football team to the absolute grandest stage in sports. Now, if you follow international football at all, you already know the Desert Foxes bring this incredibly unique blend of technical flair, undeniable passion, and honestly, a reputation for absolute chaos. Today, we're unpacking the tactical data and comprehensive reports to see exactly what kind of firepower they're bringing to the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
12. Think about that for a second. It's been a painful 12 years since the Desert Foxes last stepped onto a World Cup pitch, enduring the absolute heartbreak of missing out in both 2018 and 2022. And man, that 2022 miss, that was agonizing. It literally came down to a controversial stoppage time playoff goal by Cameroon. But you know what? That 12-year absence is officially over. They absolutely dominated their qualifying group, finishing a massive 7 points clear at the top. They are back.
Which brings us to the million-dollar question hanging over this entire tournament. Can the Desert Foxes shock the world again? With a totally revamped squad and a brand new tactical identity, we really have to ask if they're geared up to pull off another one of their historic giant-killing runs in 2026. To figure that out, we've got to look at where they've been and exactly where they are right now.
To really get why they're such a threat, we've got to talk about their legacy of giant killing.
You literally cannot evaluate this team without understanding their DNA. I mean, look back at 1982. Algeria debuts at the World Cup and completely stuns the tournament favorites, West Germany, with a 2-1 victory. It was a seismic upset. In fact, they were only eliminated because West Germany and Austria essentially conspired in this scandalous gentleman's agreement to play out a 1-0 result so they'd both advance. That game literally forced FIFA to change the rules so final group games are played simultaneously. Fast forward to 2014, their best performance ever. They pushed the eventual world champions Germany to the absolute brink in the round of 16, holding them scoreless for 90 minutes before finally dropping in an extra time. So yeah, after the dark years of missing 2018 and 2022, 2026 isn't just a return, it's a redemption tour.
Fast forward to today, and there's a whole new revolution happening. It's all about evolving that classic Algerian DNA.
And I mean, listen to this. Even Lionel Scaloni, the guy who just won the World Cup with Argentina, is publicly calling Algeria a massive threat. Scaloni actually played under Vladimir Pekovic at Lazio in Italy, so he knows firsthand just how meticulous this coach really is. When the manager of the defending world champions is explicitly praising your tactical setup and your talent pipeline, the rest of the footballing world needs to pay attention.
And why is Scaloni saying that? Because Petkovic has completely flipped their philosophy. Historically, Algeria relied on this biting, pure counterattack. But now, they've pivoted to possession-based control in a really fluid 4-2-3-1 formation. And remember, Petkovic is the same guy who famously eliminated the world champions France at Euro 2020 while managing Switzerland. He's convinced this technically gifted Algerian squad to actually dictate games rather than just sitting back and reacting. He knows exactly how to organize a team to take down giants.
So, let's look at who's actually carrying out this new tactical masterclass on the pitch.
This squad is absolutely loaded with elite European pedigree. In defense, you've got the veteran Aïssa Mandi, rocking 116 caps, organizing the backline right alongside Borussia Dortmund's Ramy Bensebaini. Add in Rayan Aït-Nouri's explosive overlapping runs at Manchester City, and it's formidable. The midfield is dynamic too, anchored by Ramez Zerouki and featuring this incredibly thrilling young prodigy Ibrahim Maza from Bayer Leverkusen. Up top, they are spoiled for choice with Riyad Mahrez, Mohamed Amouras, and Amine Gouiri. We're talking about a roster packed with guys who perform in the Premier League, the Bundesliga, and Ligue 1 week in and week out.
The real magic of their attack, though, it's this lethal tactical contrast. On one hand, you've got the Mahrez axis. They rely on the brilliant, now 35-year-old veteran Riyad Mahrez to craft chances, cutting inside onto that legendary left foot of his. On the other hand, you've got Amoura's directness. They can just unleash the raw, terrifying pace of Mohamed Amoura on the break, punishing literally any team that dares to hold a high defensive line. It creates a complete tactical nightmare for opponents. Do you step up and risk Amoura blowing past you, or sit back and let Mahrez pick you apart?
But hey, let's keep it real for a second. No team is perfect, right? We've got to look at the vulnerabilities.
Sure, they scored 24 goals in CAF qualifying and recently absolutely crushed Guatemala 7-0 in a friendly. But a closer look reveals some undeniable Achilles heels. First off, in goal, they've got Luka Zidane. Yes, the son of Zinedine Zidane. He switched his allegiance to Algeria, but he's largely unproven at the elite international level, so that's a massive question mark.
Second, there's definitely an overdependence on Mahrez, who, at 35, is operating at a slightly slower pace these days. And finally, there's a real defensive fragility. Just look at their devastating 2-0 AFCON loss to Nigeria. It proved that when their high press gets beaten by physically powerful, heavy teams, the backline can completely collapse.
Knowing all that, how do they actually stack up against the absolute gauntlet waiting for them in Group J?
The battlefield they're walking into is brutal. They kick the whole thing off with a monumental opener against Lionel Messi and Argentina in Kansas City. Talk about a baptism by fire. Then they pivot to a must-win game against tournament debutants Jordan over in San Francisco. And finally, they head back to KC for what will likely be a decisive battle for survival against Ralf Rangnick's Austrian side. Austria is ranked 24th, just 4 spots ahead of Algeria at 28th. Austria's pressing intensity clashing with Algeria's attacking flair. That is going to be one of the most fascinating tactical matchups of the entire group stage.
But here's the kicker, the thing that changes the math entirely for Algeria, the new expanded 48-team format. Under these rules, the top 2 from each group advance, but so do the 8 best third-place teams. This means a gritty third-place finish, maybe just a solid win over Jordan and a hard-fought draw against Austria, might actually be enough to keep their dreams alive and push them into the round of 32. It takes a lot of that heavy, do-or-die binary pressure right off their shoulders.
So, let's pull all this together and look at how this could realistically play out for them in 2026.
Best case scenario, they capture absolute magic. They shock Argentina, handle Jordan comfortably, outplay Austria, and top the entire group. The most probable outcome, though, they lose a hard-fought battle to Argentina, beat Jordan, and grind out a draw with Austria to scrape a third-place advancement into the knockouts. And the worst-case scenario? Well, they crumble completely under Austria's intense press, make unforced errors in goal, and suffer a disastrous early exit. But honestly, whether they're conquering the world champions, securing a pragmatic advancement, or falling victim to their own defensive fragilities, one thing is for sure. They are absolutely guaranteed to be box office entertainment.
So the question stands, will the desert unleash its foxes on the world's biggest stage once again? With a tactical mastermind like Petkovic at the helm, an arsenal of top-tier European talent, and a deep, historic national DNA of defying expectations when the lights shine the brightest, this team is the literal definition of a dark horse. Keep your eyes locked on Group J, because Algeria is ready to make some serious noise. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep learning.